All right, thank you for joining us for today's post-game press conference. We'll start with a statement from head coach Chris Acker, then open it up for questions.
Great job by Northridge coming in here and getting a win. Obviously, any home loss is horrible to experience. It's a horrible feeling. But as a team, I feel like we're growing in a lot of areas. We're getting better in a lot of areas. We're good enough to be in every game. We haven't been able to close them because we're still working on our identity physically to grab rebounds and our emotional maturity. We have to continue to grow in those areas and just get in the fight throughout the course of the game when teams are rebounding and physical and grabbing us and all of those things. We just got to get in the fight more, and we'll come out with a victory in one of these games. But I'm proud of the effort that our guys put up. And, as we get ready to go on the road in this next one, I feel like even though we lost the last two games, we got good momentum that we're good enough to be in every one of these games moving forward.
Coach, just real quick, at the end of the game there when Devon's got the ball, down 3, and what were you looking for there? What did you want? Because by the time he took his jumper, it was almost too late.
Yeah, I'm going to put the ball in Dev's hands. We ran out of timeout simply because Austin was exhausted, and I called a timeout maybe at the 7-minute mark, and I wanted to give him a chance to make 2 free throws and not go to the line exhausted. So then we called that timeout. Then we had to call another one to draw up a play. And so we ran out of timeouts. And, Dev's a very heady, smart player, and so he was trying to get to the rim with 20 seconds on the clock, and they did a nice job cutting him off, and then he got to his fade. We figured if we could get it up on the rim and then score the basketball, get a tip in, we'd be down 1, and then we'd have an opportunity to extend the game. We weren't necessarily looking to get a 3 right away.
Dev, you guys haven't had the success in the wins-loss column, but on all of these games, specifically the last few close losses at home, you guys are playing really well, really hard at the end of the game. Where does that come from? It would be easy to be frustrated with the way the season's gone. It would be easy to kind of just roll over, but you guys seem to play really hard at the end of the game. Where does that come from?
We don't like losing, so we're always trying to fight to get a win, and unfortunately, it hasn't been happening. But we're basketball players. We want to win, so we're going to go out there and play hard.
What do you think the key is to flipping that over? What do you think the key is to not having to be coming back at that time of the game and be able to kind of maybe build a lead?
Just as a whole team, we make some mistakes here and there, and that are controllable. And if we fix those, we'll put ourselves in a better position.
Is there a level of frustration for you guys with the way the season's been going? And this is for both of you. At this point, if you're looking at the schedule and you're looking at the standings, there's a danger of missing that tournament.
Absolutely. I don't think anyone likes losing. It's tough, but I think we use our frustration in a positive way. Like, we get at it in practice, and we're getting better.
Yeah, I think, we are consumed with improvement. And, I know obviously it's about the wins and the losses, but in year 1 with these guys figuring out how to play basketball, being dependent on, I'm really, really proud of the fact that they're fighting night in and night out. And like you said, they could easily give in. But the effort that they put in practice, the concentration that they put in our shoot-arounds, we're gonna get there. And, I feel it right now just sitting here. I really feel I get chills just thinking about how much better we've gotten since the Santa Barbara game, just with the attention to detail and the things that we're doing right now. And then in regards to, why we're able to come back at the end of these games and be in these situations, I think there's a lot to say about the stamina of these guys. We're playing 7 guys basically, and they're tapping into some other area of their brain, and they're figuring out that they can go a little bit harder in the course of those games. So, it's really commendable because we are limited, that these guys are out there and they're fighting for 40 minutes. This dude plays 40 minutes a game, and I don't feel comfortable ever taking him out of the game. And he had 11 assists tonight, 20 points. We had a meeting yesterday. I talked to him a little bit in the meeting about, making some adjustments here and there. And he never bats an eye at those things. He's like, all right, coach, I'll make my adjustments. And he got everybody going tonight. He looked like a professional basketball player on the floor. He was picking his spots really good. And so those things are why we're going to make a run here at the end of this year and why we're going to continue to fight regardless of the score.
Yeah, he made a couple of nice plays to get Christian going. Can you talk about Christian Richardson and kind of his maturation and what you liked and what you didn't like?
Yeah, I mean, Chris is one of those guys that he needs confidence. And, sometimes as coaches, we want things to be perfect all the time. So I'll be the first to admit sometimes I can take confidence because of my energy and my passion behind what I'm doing. And it just goes back to Dev and his teammates finding Chris and putting him in positions to be successful. And when he had success, these guys celebrated. And when I got on him about turning the ball over at the top of the key, these guys were right there telling me, hey, it's all right, Chris, you'll be all right. And to me, that's the mark of a team trending in the right direction. When you have a guy that's going through it in the moment, that's playing in an emotional game, and his teammates have his back and are picking him up and getting him to the next play. So I'm really proud of what we're building, what we're establishing, and I want it for these guys so bad.
TJ looked really good there at the end of the game with a couple threes, but he's been inconsistent from there all season. What kind of you think is the key to him kind of turning into more of a consistent three-point shooter, not just at the end of the game, but throughout?
Well, I think one or two things. Some of the things that I talk to Dev about all the time and talk to these guys about all the time is when you're a really good player, the scouting report is out. And so sometimes with that, you have to make adjustments in your game, and you have to find other ways to impact the game. And I think TJ's maturation will be his ability to make Dev better, and it'll open up the game for him. Because if you notice, if you're watching the games, a lot of times Dev's doing a lot of facilitating, and it's hard for him to get an open look because the guys are still learning how to deal with pressure. So when they get pressured and they're driving in the paint, they can't see. And so TJ is learning how to take a deep breath and not just look to score, but like in our last game versus Davis, he threw it inside to the big a couple times. I haven't seen him do that all year. He made a nice pass to Dev in the corner tonight. So he's starting to open up his game and open up his peripherals a little bit. And ultimately, that's going to make us a better team.
Dev, is that something you and TJ talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like Coach said, TJ is an amazing player and a player that can put the ball in the basket. And he's continuing to grow as well as all the rest of us. So I think as we continue to grow, better things will happen.
Kmart, I mean, he's exciting, and then he kind of disappears sometimes, and then he's exciting. What do you need from him to be more consistent?
Yeah, I mean, Kmart is one of the most durable freshmen I've ever been around. I don't think since Lamont Butler I've seen a freshman more durable than Kmart. I mean, the dude, since we started this summer, hasn't missed a practice, hasn't missed a day, hasn't complained, at least not to me anyway. But he's been unbelievable as a freshman this year. And, outside of scoring, I mean, he had a big three tonight down the stretch of that game. But if you see him on the glass, like I challenge him and I hold him to the same fire and the same standards I hold him to, which is so good for his maturity and for where he's going to be as a player when this is all said and done. But I'm just proud of Kmart because, to be 6'2", 6'3", 160 pounds out there fighting against grown men at 19 years old, it's pretty impressive to watch him compete. And so that's really good for Long Beach State as we continue in our tenure here.
Last one, obviously you mentioned it. It's year one. You're developing, you're building not just a team, but a program and everything. In terms of rotation and chances and opportunities for these guys, how much are you allowing yourself to look to next year? Not that you don't want to win now, not that you don't want to make the tournament, all that stuff, but how much is that development in an eye for the future and not just an eye for next week and March?
Every single day, like right now, what we did yesterday in practice, what we're doing right now is for the future. Tonight's game, the areas that I talked about that we improved in, those are things for the future. When I watch us play right now, I'm watching, are we all the way over at the midline in our gaps? I'm yelling less at these guys about where they need to be defensively. Now we're almost close enough to where they're understanding where they need to be offensively. And so everything we do right now bodes well for our future. We have really good players in this program. They're learning how to play and learn how to play together. And I think the most important thing when you talk about the future is these guys, again, have never been depended on, never been asked to do the things that I'm asking them to do right now. And so when you look at our future is bright because these guys are figuring it out in year one. And they're in these games against guys that have been playing college basketball forever, against coaches that have been in these programs forever. We're right there, 81-80 against CSUN, who is a damn good team. We're right there in year one with these teams after going down 30 at their place and then coming back in that game and then being down 1 right now. So everything we're doing right now is going to bode well for the future. But we are definitely bunkered in and locked in on making this conference tournament and still making a run at the end of this season. We want to be playing our best basketball as the season comes down to an end.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.